when you start to understand real intensity and it's a whole nother realm of mental power and strength, all going into one repetition. That's when you're really doing it.
Hey, let me take 1 second here to let you guys know that my products, the Titan Crew, are available over at Walmart. You got the pump product, get that focus on the workout, the test booster, bump it naturally, and then the joint support. You gotta keep the joints healthy, that way you can train for a lifetime. I want to take that 1 minute. Let's get back into the podcast. Thanks again. Happy Friday, everybody. This is the Mike O'Hearn Show on Generation Iron. And one of the cool things for me, being able to do this podcast and bring it to you, is I get to interview, obviously, people that there's an interest on what they're doing now or what they have done, or they got an interesting life. And what I love about this cat is that this cat's been on the road as long as I have in the health and fitness world. In 1987, we both did teenage nationals. And so that was when I first got to see the real deal Chris Cormier. And it was shortly after that we were all training at Gold's Gym Venice. But being able to be here in the industry today in 2023, and somebody I was on stage with in 1987 is a cool thing for me. It's a cool thing for me because of the fact that I'm still here in the industry doing this stuff, being able to talk to guys like this that have set themselves. Again, Chris Cormier took third at the Mr. Olympia, right behind Ronnie Coleman and Flex Wheeler, and Ironman championships, Arnold's, and so on. He's like, I get the bodybuilding thing. I get that. But to me, it's a friend that's lived this life and had fun doing it. If anybody knows Chris Cormier, Chris had fun and is having fun. And so we're going to dive into this, and we're going to dive into just the whole passion on how somebody started out so young in this industry and is still here today doing it, and becoming a master in a second part of it, not just the competitor anymore. He's now taking these guys and getting guys in incredible shape, walking on the Olympia stage. So there's a lot to cover here. This probably, I'll guarantee that I guarantee this will not be my only episode with him. I'm going to be bringing him back a few times because we have so much history together. So let's bring on Chris Cormier. I think you're a lot like the circle. Like you said, you saw Sean Ray, and you were in California, and you were competing at those shows when California was like, just, you want to be in California. You want to be.
Every week there was a show.
Yeah.
And there was like, even like when I was 18, I did 7 shows in a row. And being that I wasn't like, jacked, I was a natural bodybuilder, but I just wanted to see what's that stage about. Like, what do I need to know when I'm up there? What happens up there that I need to be, on top of, yeah. So,
do you think that it helped being here in California and being around those people?
Big time. But even I was in Palm Springs, that's where I grew up. But then my mom was even like, you need to go to Venice because that's where everyone's at. That's where they're at.
Mom supported.
Yeah, that's where you need to be. And I'm going to give you, $2,500 a month so you can just concentrate on what you need to do to be the best you can be.
Oh, see, that's huge.
It was huge.
It's huge for me because I love the fact that you had supportive parents. Because I had the same supportive parents.
It makes a big difference.
For this sport,
it's a big
I think for
difference,
any sport. Let me not just say bodybuilding, but just for any
but
sport.
It's a whole nother
that's huge
spiritual thing that you get behind you just by knowing that, hey, mom's is right there.
You got pressure because she's actually financially
dude.
saying, you know what? Get out of here. Get over there. That's where you belong, and I'll help you.
Yeah.
You can't. That's a real. A cool burden, I guess you would say.
Because then they're invested, emotionally, financially, spiritually, all of that, in you being the best you could be at something.
and you climbed the ranks, kid. I mean, you climbed it, you did it. And when I first got down to California, it was you, Rico, and Flex always training together and stuff. Great
How was that for you to be like, okay, these guys, like, they stuck a flag in the sand over here in Venice, and it's like, I felt like we were from different areas. Rico was from here, but like, how did you?
He's a Fresno boy.
Yeah, and like, did Rico greet you into the gym, or I know he had some kind of contact with? He was like the mayor of the gym, basically.
I don't know how the original meet and greet. I think it was that my lifting allowed me to meet and greet people, if that makes sense. The way I lifted and the way I came in and started training with Tom Plaz and came from that extreme powerlifting background, and so the weights I pushed, I think, and you tell me if this is wrong, it seemed to me that Gold's was, if you were putting in the work, everybody else respected you. And they'll talk smack to you.
But you had to put in the work first. You didn't just come in there and like, okay, we respect you, you're a big dude. Like, they have to see what you're about, in my opinion. And
it seemed 100% like I did. You had to earn it. I don't care if you came in and you did the grunt and the noise and stuff. It was like, no, I want to see you do something. Stop making a scene. And it seemed like most of the guys it was cool because it was guys and girls. It wasn't just the guys. It was a lot of girls like Mona, just talk smack right with you and leg press whatever you're leg pressing. And Val.
We had Hanny Van Inken. She was in there. She was from Europe. You know, it was, but they had a lot of hard training chicks that was pretty strong. I forgot off the top of my head some of the names, but
you know, how many names have we forgot?
Man, what about like Billy Smith and
Billy and Jim training together?
Yeah,
Mike was still there. Troy coming through.
Mike Quinn, Mike Christian, Mike
Tower,
Quinn,
Steve Hannenberg was all the Gladiator boys.
It
was such a cool.
Joe DeAngelis.
I just talked to his ex-wife the other
Yeah.
day. She just messaged me, goes, "You still doing this stuff?" I go, "Yeah, I'm still doing this stuff." But yeah, Joe D, who might have been one of my strongest training partners ever.
Wow, Fulcher, he was in there.
There was so many. Tom was still getting crazy with us on legs, and I was looking at video and shots of like Dorian would come through in '92 and '91 and '90s and all those guys. It was just a cool era that we saw each other training like savages, but it had fun doing it. It was like we pulled that Arnold kind of thing.
It was the place to be at between 10 and 12 and 5 and 7. You know? If
we can get you off the video games. That was a couple years later. Get you off of Madden.
I'm still on it.
I know. But jump back for a second, because we were these teenagers that loved it, and drawn towards it, regardless of the other sports we were doing. And it was something about that art.
And then
show.
if you can blend them all together, then let's do it. Because I went to Cal State Bakersfield on a wrestling scholarship at 16 years old. I graduated and went straight to college. And that was '84, so I went to the Olympics and checked all that out. I wanted to be an Olympian first, in the Olympics first, and then getting hurt and still, but I'm bodybuilding at the same time, because like when I was 15, I don't know how did you get involved? Like, okay, I want to do a competition. What sparked that?
Because when I was doing the martial arts and the bodybuilding, I was at a powerlifting gym. And so I was with these guys that were the greatest in the world. I didn't know at the time they were the greatest. I'm just a 13-year-old kid. And they're like, let's get you in a powerlifting meet. I did that. And then they go, well, let's get you in a bodybuilding show. So I did that. And so I was just watching them and following their act, because I was terrible at school. I couldn't read worth shit. But I was athletically great. And so I went to one of those TV movie kind of shows where the principal's like, "Kid, play ball, we'll get you through school." And so I was like, all right, I'm a kid. I didn't say nothing to my folks. And so I just kind of scooted through school, did the sports, and it was the sports that saved me, and I loved it. And my first bodybuilding show was at 14.
Jesus.
But we loved it. And like you said, it's the wrestling mentality. How much did it help you in that?
Big time.
I say this to people,
It made it easy for me. It made bodybuilding easy for me because I wrestled, and I'm going to bed hungry. I'm 182, 83 on Monday. I know by Wednesday I need to be 167, and I need to physically get myself there. So that was always like in my mind, like, man, bodybuilding, at least I get to eat. Back then at wrestling, we didn't really have, my last year, my coach was like, hey, you need to put yourself on a diet. And I was like, a diet? Yeah, because I was like, I'm doing anything possible to get my weight down. I didn't care how I got there. I just wanted, X-Lax or whatever the hell I would take.
We wore the garbage bags all day. He just spitting.
Suits, running. Going to bed hungry, holding your stomach. Oh, I'm at weight. I can't touch nothing. And then, but, and going straight to college, man. College wrestling is a whole nother ball game, dude.
It was kind of like going to teenage nationals and bodybuilding. It's like, wow, that's a wake up.
It's a way to wake up.
This is the best of now. This whole area, we eliminated the average Joe, and that's what teenage nationals was for us.
Yeah,
it was okay, this is the very best.
This is the best of the best, and then I loved it. I still to this day I really love teenage bodybuilding, just because I knew that's where I got my start, and that's where it all starts. For a lot of people. Some people go in late, but I think those ones that they were top teenagers, those guys have the pedigree to do what they wanted to do because they're the top-notch guys. I mean, let's just be real.
Here's a huge question because the finance wasn't there as much for us
but that
as
wasn't the goal,
football
really.
is now.
That
football
wasn't
now.
Goal. That wasn't the goal.
I know, but it was like if they said, "Hey, do you want to go play football?" I got a call from Joe Weider going, "Hey, I want you on the magazines and down here." And I'm like, I was a selfish young kid. I'm like, done. I'm there. I got to go do that and be on the magazine and be one of 5 guys on Gladiators and this kind of stuff. That's me. And the finance wasn't like crazy money, except for like Bosworth started coming. We're talking about old days.
Oh yeah,
but the money now is epic. Back then, like the Barry DeMay at 1920, what he looked like. Lee Haney at Teenage America at 19. Holy shit!
Oh yeah.
There was a lot of more teenagers back when we did it and before our era, and these guys looked like grown men, and they were grown men at teenage age. What do you think the difference was?
The difference as far as
that there was such great teenagers back in that era. By the time they were 20, Andy Bernowski, remember him at 20 years old?
Of course.
Holy sheesh, Andy Bernowski from the program.
I seen him in
He's just a huge human.
Yeah, we still talk to this day. And
I do too.
He's so funny.
Andy's great. If you guys don't know Latimer, seat at the table. But I was going to wear, I called him with something. He goes, do you want to wear my jersey? Because I said, I'm going to dress up as Latimer for Halloween this year. He goes, just wear my jersey. I'm like, seriously? Heck yeah, I'm coming over to get that. Holy sheesh, I'm actually wearing the real jersey.
That's
but
awesome.
He was 20. He benched 500 at 19 years old. There were monsters back in our era. And these guys were incredible by 20 years old, 21 years old. Barry
and he was tall
Olympia
too.
stage at 22. Yeah, Andy's 6. I don't know how big he is, but he's one of those guys that comes in and then the light disappears.
We went to Vegas together one day. And
and
I drove.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And, we can't talk about that. I don't even want to know what that happened to.
Bro,
you and Andy
but that was the one
Vegas.
day. That was the one day. I was pretty big then. And his feet was like in my dash, and his head was in the back seat. And I'm just going driving. I'm just like
looking at him.
Yeah,
he's a whole defensive line. Want to take a second from my show to say thank you to one of our sponsors, Transcend. This is the health and wellness company that my family has chosen to work with. They get your blood work done so you understand what is going on inside. We might look good on the outside, but you never know what's going on. So that's who I'm recommending for you guys out there. get on over to Transcend, get your blood work done today, make sure you're healthy, and stay in the game. Jump back to the wrestling because of the fact that most people don't get it unless they're in that world or in the mentality.
Okay,
I always talk about the third round of a wrestling match and you're losing.
So here's the thing: when
darkness.
that's everyone ventures into that who wrestled. Like I was, young. I was in, I found myself on my back, and a couple of times I just gave up. I said, okay, I could stop all of this right now if I just let this shoulder down, And then one day I was just like, I'm not getting pinned no more. Nobody's pinning me. Like, I'm not going to give up. And then that day on, when I'd find myself on my back, it was like, that was the last thing I'm going to do is let someone totally control me like that enough to where I have to be, in that position. I started fighting. I was like, no, I'm not getting pinned no more. And I didn't get pinned again until I got into college, but I was like, throughout my high school and stuff, I never got pinned. I got beat down pretty bad, but that's guys who've been wrestling since they were 5. I picked it up when I was in 10th grade.
What that do to you metaphorically in the sense of life?
Life?
I mean, it helped in bodybuilding.
It helped in life because...
The grind?
Yeah, because whenever anyone can get depressed, anyone can feel down and bad, but to pull yourself out of it and to pull yourself up into, I'm gonna turn this into a positive. I'm gonna this is not gonna beat me. This is not gonna beat me. I'm gonna work on it every day until I reach my goal to get out of this hole or get into this new venture or get It just, and also we had a mental training course when I went to Cal State Bakersfield. And then I started, you start looking into different stuff to boost your mind power, your everything it did everything for me. And I always tell people that, get into wrestling. If you're at this age, it's a good time to learn wrestling. Whether you're good or not, you're still going to learn that same lesson.
There's something about that struggle and that third round when you're tired, you got nothing, and the guy's beating you. And
what are you gonna do?
You have to go to, and it's funny because you could go, and I see your eyes. You went right to, you could visually see that moment you made a decision. I'm not gonna lose.
Yeah,
because of myself. I guess I'm not gonna lose because I give up.
Yeah,
I'll lose because the guy beats me, but I'm not gonna lose because I give up.
Right,
and that's a cool thing. For any person, especially a man.
And now they have a lot of women, a lot of girls doing it too. And I'm like, it's a different aspect now, I feel. Because I went around, because I always like to try to come around and see some matches or whatever. I love to see a good wrestling match. And just seeing the different people coming up doing now, it's gotten a lot better, different moves and stuff like that. But I love wrestling still.
Mark Coleman and Rampage always send me like DMs with the wrestling matches and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
we just always send each other those kind of things. Like, watch the moves these kids are doing nowadays, and I'm like, wow, it's a different level.
But when I used to wear a mask when I was in high school. I got photos of it, so I can show you it.
Was it the Freddy or just the head? I got the Freddy mask. I got the Freddy mask. I got split down the middle of the eye, so I had to wear it. Stitches. So what happened?
So I used to get bloody noses all the time. So, before I got my nose cauterized, I used to wear a mask. And then...
that must have looked ferocious.
Oh, crazy, dude. I'm out there I'm like messing with people with it.
I'm
spotlight
like...
Yeah, we under the dome.
On, you walk out, you got the mask on. You ready to wrestle?
Yeah. Body's all built up. You're like, for a teenager.
I was like,
what the hell?
High school kid, what's up?
What is he doing? It's like, I'm coming out to music and stuff, and I'm just like,
yeah, that's shoot. Man. That's shoot right there.
Oh, yeah.
Vision Quest.
Vision Quest. If you didn't see that movie, man, Vision Quest, man, that pump you up.
That still
man.
pump me up today.
Still, right?
I'm going to wrestle you. Yeah, good luck.
Shoot's walking up with the log on his back. Up the stadiums, the bleachers, and so wrestling, man, it's just like I remember this one guy he said I was using it as a weapon. They wanted me to take my mask off, so then I was pissed. So then I picked this guy up,
Body slam.
put him in a cradle before I got to the ground. Put him in a cradle in midair, brought him down to the ground, and the camera guy from Desert Sun, Palm Springs, was sitting right there. I put him right in front of the camera. I went like with him in my
Frame that shot.
Yeah.
Have a good day. I freaking love it, man. It's
like
those struggles as you were a kid going to teenage nationals, and I don't know what the scorecard was, but Gerard won it, but it wasn't by much. And you guys both continued on and stuff, and you're still here today doing it. But don't you think those the continued hunger to go from teenage nationals to get your butt out to California, to the support from the parents, and to continue to compete, and then being around Flex and Rico and the intensity, mostly, I don't think Gold's Gym was ever better than the early 90s.
Well, Gold's Gym, like for myself, when I was a teenager training for Mr. California, I came out to Venice, stayed at a friend's house, and I was training at the gym, going out to the beach. I wanted to lay out there where the same place where Arnold and those guys were laying down. I wanted to lay in that same grass and run out to the beach like Arnold and come back. I'm laying out in the sun. And then I go back to the gym and I train again. So I train twice a day, eat my food, go lay in the sun. And I did that for a few weeks like that every day. Then I went back and I did the show. I won the competition. Then I was like, but every time I came to Gold's Venice, like something good would happen. I was like, either I got a photo shoot or I got a guest posing. I was like, I didn't have many titles, but I'm getting guest posing and stuff. And and then I got connected with Robbie, and then that changed everything.
What year did you start training with Robbie at that time?
I was around 1920. I think I won the Teenage Nationals or something like that.
But you started training with Robbie, and Robbie's already somebody.
Yeah. So Robbie, looking at him in Pumping Iron, and I was a big fan because, it's watching all the, you gravitate to what you're familiar with. He's a black guy. He was from Florida, just reading up all the stuff. He's in Venice, and he had these crazy intercostals and serratus.
Side chest.
And I was just like, what? This guy just looks crazier than almost anybody in the world. Like, why isn't he Mr. Olympia? Like, why? I was like, he's Mr. Universe, but why?
Right.
How does he lose to this dude when he looks so busy? His body's so busy. And then, not getting to know him. And even to this day, I've never seen him eat anything bad. Have you? Never. Won't.
Robbie?
He rather starve.
Vegetables. And
he rather starve.
He's.
I remember I invited him to my house one day. I had some rice, some Spanish rice.
We're talking about Robbie Robinson.
Yeah, the Robinson.
Real legend.
So I gave him some rice and some chicken and stuff. And then he was like, Chris, he's like, I don't eat no oil. His lips is all full of oil.
He puts oil on his body.
He was so mad.
Not on the food.
He was so mad.
He's precise.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I don't eat this. Oh, come on now. He's like, but yeah.
He still trains today more intense than anybody else I train with.
And I know, and it's not only the actual reps, but it's the mentality behind what you're doing. And I know as well as I know, I did a lot of shows with him over the years. Sometimes we did, sometimes we spent some time not talking. We spent a lot of time talking, but he groomed me to be this professional bodybuilder from a young age, teaching me everything. I mean, just watching, also just being around. We guest posed together in Spain when I was young, and he was making his food in his room himself, even though we had a butler that was cooking all of the food.
He was like, I'm doing
myself. He was traveling with his pot, and he'd go to the store, get his oatmeal and stuff. He's cooking in his room. And I was.
That says something about. He is so precise, but he loves that repetition of doing it, and
yeah,
the way he trains, and it's.
But he tried to get me to do like I was into the power stuff, like you,
Okay.
obviously, and I wanted to do the 200s, I wanted to do the 5 somethings, all in the same workout, you know. Then I wanted to somehow, I wanted to. You know, I'm just thirsting for knowledge and experience, you know. So just even being in the posing room with this guy. I don't know if you ever posed with Robbie.
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was all right. You know, he gives you little tips and stuff. He's very, he's precise on stuff. And there's obviously there's days that he's extra psyched, and he'll still break your hand when he knuckles you or something like that. So, hey, Robbie, how you doing today? Good. It's awesome, man. And I'm glad because he's a great role model for somebody as a teenager. I mean, because he grew up in the 70s with these guys and around these guys. And I agree. We were watching Pumping Iron this morning. We're at the gym training at 5 o'clock this morning. And you could see, like, for me, I'm like you. It's like I like the athlete. I like the bodybuilder, but who's also an athlete in a sense. And you could see when they're out throwing the ball, and there's him.
Oh yeah,
Ken
yeah,
Wall and Ron,
yeah.
and they're running, and then Robbie runs, and you're like, Robbie's the athlete. He played the football.
You can see, yeah.
You can see it. And so I could just see it. And then I'm watching the competitors, and I'm like, why didn't Robbie win that show? Because compared to everybody else, I'm like, you can't even tell me somebody beat him.
Right.
How he looked.
Right.
And then he jumped forward today, and he's still doing it, almost 80 years old. And he lives, like you said. I've never seen him do anything except vegetables and protein. It's amazing. I know he does probably, some carbs here and there, but I've only ever seen him eat vegetables and proteins. And he puts his oil on, makes sure the skin is good. But as a role model for you as a teenager, I think that's huge. You got the parents, you got the location. I grew up with Jeff Magruder, Doug Furness, and Doyle Kennedy, who were like the 3 strongest guys in their lifts and powerlifting. And those are who I was around at 13, 14, 15 at their gym. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just thinking the similarities of having those kind of elders with us, teaching us how to do this sport or this craft, whatever it is,
yeah.
and do it in a professional way, maybe helped us so much that we're still in this world today. Because you went from this teenage phenomenon to me and to everybody else. You can't even tell me that's not true. And then into the pro ranks, and you're up there with Flex and Ronnie and at the Mr. Olympia, and you took a 3rd there. And again, balanced and beautiful. It's a great piece of artwork. And I think of bodybuilding as art, not as a sport. It's an art piece. And I thought it was just a beautiful piece of art when I was watching you pose. And to be with 2 of those guys that are phenomenal. It's like you 3 were just amazing at that Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
And the size you were, because I don't know what they think you weigh. You were in the 50s.
Yeah,
I think you were 255 in that range.
Yeah.
And it's funny because 255 in that condition with that balance. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was.
What was with the 90s guys and how big size they were, but how complete they were and how balanced they were compared to.
I think for the most part.
Or do you not think that was so?
I mean, I think let's say it wasn't like it was like we had our books and we had each other, so it was easy for myself, I'm learning from Joe Weider. He would take me in the back and we're working on some posing and some connection stuff with how to contract your stomach and all this different stuff. So I'm learning like from the top people that's been the top echelon of knowledge and experience. Robbie huge influence on how I looked, my mentality behind the posing, how to the presentation, how to build, and the look you want to try to strive for. So that's been my mentors, and that's my, they call it coaching now, but I think a lot of the physiques now is some stuff is from someone in your gym that someone had a good marketing tool that you got invested in this person because of the way they market their social media or whatever. And they got all these clients and they got all these before and afters. And where's the mentality? What's the mindset behind getting that competitor looking like that? So that's a little bit, I just feel like that's a little bit different from how I learned this different stuff. And who I learned it from. Who's teaching coaching? Who's teaching posing? Who's teaching?
Was there, besides like those guys would come around, Charles be around. Charles was still competing in the early 90s as well too, though, and Robbie was crushing it.
I just think that the style of the judging, the style of the mindset behind what we were doing, it was a lot of posing going on. It was a lot of, and a little bit of that got lost in the translation when you hear a lot of, even some people who win shows, I didn't put a whole lot into the posing, or I didn't, I tried to learn some new posing late. Like that was, like for myself, if you've been around Robbie, like me and you have, that's something that's 2 months. That's 2 months of work, that posing. You're sitting in all of your sweat. You're splashing around in your sweat.
Yeah.
Going from pose to pose.
It seems to me that we kept putting ourselves from that young teenage days around the very best.
That's
and
the only,
did
that's
not
the only
ask.
way. I didn't want to have anything to do with anybody else but the best of the best. And that's who I respected, like that top-notch person. Like, okay, you've been there, you've done it, and you've been around the pedigree of what I want to be. I want to be this. I want to see how many people I can beat. I want to see how many.
Yeah.
I want to see how many teenagers I could beat around the world. Like I sought after. I want to find who
Every
is it?
stage you got to, you wanted the next level.
Oh yeah, but it's not like people didn't doubt me. They doubted my abilities to do so.
But
And
you didn't doubt you.
No, I didn't doubt.
Isn't that the
I
most
was like-
important thing, though, obviously?
Yeah.
Because I could see that at Teenage Nationals, because I'm cool with how I came into Teenage Nationals, but it was a great slap in the face. And I go, okay, now I know. Let's step up again. Let's go to California. Let's hang with these guys. And so it was cool for me.
So what about your wrestling? Did you?
I loved wrestling. I loved football. I was All-American. And when Weeder called me and he says, I want you in the mags and I want you here in California. And I'm coming from this high school that we didn't lose in football. I was just dominant. I was All-American state and continuous. I didn't love football because it was a team. And I wanted to put everything on my shoulders. I wanted to go, I want to do this. And I don't want to count on the guy next to me. I want to do this. And I want to do this on my own. And so when he called me and gave that call, I was like, I'm good. And my parents did the same thing as your parents. When I told my dad, he says, all right, pack up the U-Haul. Get out of here before mom gets home from work. Get to California. Get out of here. I said, well, I should probably wait and say goodbye to mom this weekend. I could probably pack and go. But he was a father of 10 kids. Me, 5 boys, 5 girls. He was like,
Dang.
Get out of here. You can call mom when you get to California. Get out of here. And it was the coolest thing to have a parent like that say, this is what you want, go.
Bro.
And you to have your mom go, listen, get out, go.
I probably would have stayed or been in that whole area where I was growing up, with didn't turn out to be a great area to be, not in my neighborhood. I had a choice of being a really good gangster, or I could be, or I could be be something that someone would like, oh, I want to be like that guy. You know, but I remember grabbing you in Venice one time or another. And
Try to shoot a leg?
I felt you was strong as shit. I was like, this fool is not moving. Like, I was like, I'm not tied up with you a couple of times. Like, God damn, this fool. Then I was like, I remember I trained a couple of training sessions with you. I was just like, man, you got some human strength that's, I ain't blowing smoke, dude, but you was strong ass son of a bitch. I was like, damn, dude. It's like, so you're just naturally strong already.
I started so young that I just.
But you was naturally grasping stuff that people wasn't doing, or you got.
I was ignorant.
You feel like you was.
I was like you know what? It's like when you're young and you didn't know how muscular you could get or how strong you could get.
Yeah.
And so I'm around this guy doing a 900 squat, a 900 deadlift, a 600 bench, and I'm like, cool. Anybody can do that. So I'm 13, 14. And by 14, I'm winning my first powerlifting meet. And by 15, I'm hitting a 6 squat, a 6 deadlift, and a 4 bench at 16 years old. And so when I walked on Teenage Nationals with you, I was 220 in shape as a 17-year-old kid. And they're like, holy shit, dog, what's... And so the strength was there. But I still didn't know. Like you and me, we both went there thinking, and I had more reason to go, oh, geez, because you won, but we still wanted to keep getting better and wanted to be better than the rest of them.
Yeah.
And didn't know where the strength would go.
So what about those times where, let's say you're wrestling, and I don't know about you, but bro, I used to bring myself to tears in wrestling, just practicing. So I'm bear crawling. I just tear up sometime, or I'm in this last couple sets of my reps of my sets, and I just start bawling. Did you ever get to that point?
I never did the ball, but we did the continuous.
I just started crying,
throwing.
man, right in the middle of my set.
Yeah,
and then I was like, then I started training for shows. Like, wait a minute, if I don't cry, maybe it don't mean nothing to me. Maybe it don't mean enough to me to get to that point. But I get emotional right in the middle of my damn sets, dude.
That's pretty. It's.
I get emotional, man. It's just
I think we're so connected to it because I'll do that with acting.
Mm-hmm.
I cried like a baby.
Yeah.
Like they just do. There's a repeat game. You're saying the same word back and forth, but it's meaning different things each time you say it. I'm 2 seconds into this thing and I'm already crying. Looking at the other guy. The guy's looking at you, go, "What's wrong, man? You want to talk about this?" I'm just crying. With that being said, we jump forward now from 1987 to almost 2023. By the time this is out, this is 2023, and you have established yourself as an elite coach. And it's pretty awesome because it's the experience of going through it and with the greatest in the world. And you've been around the greatest since you were a teenager. How's that helped you now with coaching?
Well, I mean, after, I had my injuries or, I had the staph infection, I was in the coma and all that stuff. And then coming out of that, I'm like, okay, I don't want this to beat me. I want to get back on stage, force myself to get back on stage 2 more times, almost making it back to the Olympia. But I always said to myself, if I'm not qualified for Olympia, I need to look for greener pastures because I don't want to just be bodybuilding just to be up there. I want to be one of the best. So coming from that, going through a depression or just trying to find myself again, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, so I'm going to train with Dorian Yates after that.
Did you go over there and live there for a while?
Yeah, I went there to England. I went to his house and trained and, came. I mean, wrestling is tough. Bodybuilding, it's a different tough. But when you start to understand real intensity and it's a whole nother realm of mental power and strength, all going into one repetition. That's when you're really doing it, and just to enter into that mentally, it was like, man, I felt like I can try to help other people you know, feel what I'm feeling, you know, and I, you know, just took all my experiences and rolled it all into one mind, you know, from all these different champions and different impressive people that I've been around all my life, and coming up with Camp Cormier, you know, so. And it's more than just going to the gym and counting some reps and stuff like that. There's way more to it than that. You know, it's more like you get around each other, you're talking the mindset, you're talking different experiences, and you're getting that person mentored and up to, you know, and I probably got a lot of that from a person like Robbie, and I like a person like, you know, Dorian, and like a person, you know, people like, you know, even Joe Weider, you know, and I tried to establish that mindset behind the training, and behind what it takes in the posing room, and know everyone, just everything I've been through. I'm putting that into instilling that. You know how Breon is. You know, you've been around him, you trained with him. He's a different cat, but I know I helped instill a lot of that in him that he didn't have. I saw he had a raw material. I was like, man, this guy can. But you know, we've been working with each other like for 7 years, and I know for a fact that he's like a trained killer. He's like, I just you know, he would come down to. I'm in San Diego now, and I would have different athletes come down there. It's sponsored by, you know, Edgar. Edgar's been like, he's been like a person, been a you know, a client, but also, you know, helped sponsor my whole camp thing. You know, he has a clothing line, Odinus, Odinus. It's like a new clothing line. I told you I'm gonna get you a sweatsuit from there.
Yeah, you said small.
Yeah.
I don't know why you said small. I don't know what that.
Medium.
What are you doing? That? Before you go on, I think that you and I could. I'm curious. Our young selves were. You can't beat me in the workout. You can't lift more than me. You won't be able to out-rep me. You won't be able to do that stuff. Compared to how we got to that point of whatever it is that we do now, it is an experience. The workout is a therapy. The workout is a mind-changing thing that happens compared to our young, savage selves.
Right.
Is that kind of how you feel as well?
Yeah.
We had to go through that process of life,
and
the crying during the workouts, or the emotional drop.
All of it, and going through the adversities, going through the, you know, whatever.
And now we're trying to explain that to people, and they look at us and
go,
but it's just a workout.
But
for
if
me,
you
dude.
think about it. There's different levels of people and mentality and everything, so you can't expect everyone to get it.
I agree.
But you can't expect people to understand me when I'm like, yeah, I'm flexing my hamstring before anyone even told me about flexing hamstrings. Who thinks in that mindset? So you got to be a special person to even be in that realm. Just like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was in a whole nother realm.
And at such a young age, he did.
Yeah, and so think about his mind-muscle connection. Think about his, from head to toe, he was just a big, you know, just something else, you know?
He was my number one focus when I was a kid, because I kept getting told, like you said, not everybody supported you. Not everybody was on your fan. And so my belief was, these guys were so freaking strong. I want to be that. But I also want to look like these guys. But I also want to be an athlete over here. And I'm looking at Bruce Lee going, he's a badass. He can move. He looks good. And I'm like, I'm going to be this guy that can do all of it. And that's the only reason I got gladiators at such a young age. And that's the only reason I got gladiators later in life.
You almost got me to be a gladiator.
They had to be that.
You almost got me to be a gladiator, remember?
I tried to get you to be a warrior, man. Oh,
I did like 20-some pull-ups that day. Remember that tryout? Damn,
I do.
It was right at the end.
Yeah. But
right at the end.
We kind of like that. But I agree with you that it is a journey that we went to. And so we can't expect everybody else to get the workouts and what they do for us. and how they've helped us and saved us at times in our lives. But it's a cool connection when you do get there, because then you do teach other people like that. And you're right, Brian's a different cat today than he was years ago.
Oh yeah.
And you had a lot to do that.
Oh yeah.
And Robbie has a lot to do with how he guided you and how he guides me.
Under the umbrella, dude. We come from the same umbrella, dude.
Just different.
That's why I respect you a lot, man, Mike, and all the stuff you're doing. That's why I wanted to make the trip to come up here and do this podcast with you, and the stuff that probably needed to be said, and people can learn from us just talking, just talk.
Right. Yeah, I didn't want to talk about your career in bodybuilding, because I think who you are is bigger than your career. I'd say you're going to be doing more for the sport of bodybuilding, who you are today, than you ever did in your competing years, in my opinion, because you have so much knowledge, and also there's a purity to you, as Mona and I say. There's just you will forever be a child, a grown man child, loving this kind of life and living this life in a fun way. And so you got so much to teach people, the joy of everything you're doing. So it's cool to be able to do this.
Man.
We'll be doing this again.
Oh yeah,
we're not going to go to Vegas together. Go back, want to lock the door on my ass.
Bro, what about? And then yeah, dude.
We've been in it for a while, and we're still here.
Still here doing it. I mean, yeah, but I think it's still like giving back to and paving ways and all that stuff. All that means something. Means something to me. Yeah, man.
I love that my kid gets to meet you today. Same height as him, though.
I've been watching him.
This.
Yeah, man.
I want him to grow up around that, like what we did. And if anybody takes some stuff away from the youngsters today, if they take anything away, because like you got a couple friends here,
yeah,
and she's 17, he's 15, and he's already been training a couple years.
Been training.
So here's the thing: you and I were blessed enough to be around the greatest as young teenagers, and then we also had, which is I think a lost art, the ability to be, I call it ignorant bliss. I didn't know 600 was a big bench, so I kept thinking I can do it. And so I went this way, compared to, it seems like kids today go, well, I can't bench that. That's crazy. I can't do that kind of stuff. I'm going this way. You can't look like Chris Cormier at Teenage Nationals natural and look like a grown-ass man. No, it's this. And it's like, why aren't they going this way, going, you know what? Maybe not. I'm still going to be the guy that does it. I'll be the lone wolf that creates this physique, and I'll be better than Chris Cormier at Teenage Nationals, and I'll win my pro card at 20. I'll bench 600 at 20 years old. Why don't they go that way?
Some will. Some there's a few that can think on those terms, and there's a lot that will have limitations mentally. And
what can you say to them? What can you say to the mass? Because I know that, like you said, not everybody's going to understand that the workouts are more of a meditation for us now. What can you say to those kids going, no, go with the positive instead of everything sucks. The world owes me this. I can't be any of those things. You and I never thought that.
Just waking up or going to bed at night, preparing for the next day, preparing for the next week, reading, I know it's hard to find those type of books that kind of like help mold our mentality when we were young, but whatever's going to, I don't know, it's probably videos, more visual now, I think.
To believe in yourself.
And then, but it's a whole lot of material coming in all the time, fast. But like real good things take time. Good things take time. It's not about microwavable muscle, microwavable, it's not shortcut. Like I was okay with making a gain in about 2 months. I was okay with it because as long as it happens and it's solid, I'm okay with that. Just good things are planned out and it's thought out and it's setting little goals for yourself. accomplish that. Make sure you accomplish those goals. Accomplish that goal. Even if it's you touching on different goals or different levels of whatever it is you're involved in, and just if you can get around someone that's really good about something or sought after the best information, the best mentality, the best people with good heart, all this stuff.
All helps.
You can, yeah. It
Don't
helps.
be around Rico unless you're really solid.
And then make your circle. I noticed you're meticulous about your circle. I always notice that about you, and that's what's going to elevate you as a strong backbone. A strong.
It's the circle, but obviously you try to find that circle where the individuals are better or solid. And it's not because you can just learn from them, but it's also they can lift you up when you drop.
Yeah.
And I think most people think, I just want to be around the greats because then I can be great with them and they'll get me through the door. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's partly true, but again, it's when you drop, you getting pinned and giving up on yourself compared to you going, never again. That's a huge point in your life. Yeah. That was a huge crossroad change.
Yeah.
I got my ass kicked, and in Washington it was the rain, so I got my face shoved into the water, and it was getting held down. I was like, okay, that will never happen.
And it's a lot of it's mental like that. Like I remember
those are the beatdowns.
I remember I was in the state tournament. We weighed from Palm Springs up to San Jose for the state championships for wrestling. And I remember this one guy. I just got mocked. He was like,
he just
told. Yeah, I was speaking to him earlier, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been wrestling since I was 5 years old, and he's just a real shoot type of guy. He's from Clovis West. Clovis West is no joke. If you know anything about wrestling, they got like 12 coaches on their wrestling squad. Yeah. Clovis and Clovis West, and then I wrestled one of those guys, and then the next guy, I had this high school girlfriend that. She had moved away. And she had we had broke up. She broke my heart. I was wrestling a guy from her school, and I still attacked this guy. This guy probably, what the hell?
What's wrong with you? We just wrestled, dog. I didn't sleep with her.
I pinned him in 22 seconds in the state tournament.
Those battles, they're
so just the mindset. You're just like just beast, and yeah. Just stuff like that. Like he probably just wasn't ready for somebody so driven to just tear his butt up just because he's wearing that uniform. He was just like
they didn't know. They didn't know about the man child.
No, they didn't know about the man child.
I love it. Don't give up on yourself. Believe in yourself.
Yeah, I believe.
I'm cool with the lone wolf attitude, the circle of friends, the slow road.
Yeah, driving up here. I would leave here. I would ask for, and be that person. Like, I'm willing to drive a few hours just to understand something about posing. And I'm happy with that because I'm going to build to something. This is for something, And a lot of people, they don't want to put forth that type of effort. I'm willing to drive, 4 hours to learn some posing for 30 minutes. And I'm happy,
But listen, you went over and lived with Dorian.
Yeah.
That's at a time that probably it was nice too, just because of the fact that you're going through a change.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, he's like my brother, man, and he's like he treated me just as well as anyone in my family.
It's a cool thing. We've been here for a while. We're still here. We're still here, man. And I love that I see that with Brianna and these others that you're working with and that you're in San Diego and you're having fun. But it's always good to see it's the energy. It don't matter if we're on a plane to Dubai or where we're at. You're still the same pure soul, which I respected back then.
Thank you, brother.
And I respected because seeing you come into Teenage Nationals, doing what you do, and then just continue the drive. It was cool for me to watch and be on this road on the side watching you as you've lived this life. So I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
I love
man.
calling you and teasing you and waking.
Yeah.
I wake up at 3:00 and I'm texting him and he's going to bed, just getting off the PlayStation at that time. So, and the knocks on the doors. Hey, Mike, open up. What are you doing? Let's play. We got so much to tell you guys in the future, but yeah, we'll keep all that
Yeah,
to
we got to do
ourselves.
another one.
Yeah, we have to. I love you, kid.
Dude, but I was supposed to do the show and I chickened out.
Did you go?
I went there because I dieted for a week and I thought that was enough.
Oh yeah, a week's fine. A week's fine. You're good. You're good. Holy
I
shit.
dieted for a week. I went and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. So I sat in the audience and it was only like 3 teenagers in there. So I was like, I could have won the show.
Right.
Because the one bodybuilder is another bodybuilder in my school and he won it. I was like, I got a way better body than that guy. I'm doing it. So then I went there the next year. I was at a scholarship to my high school teacher was like, Kathy Loria, she was like, you should try bodybuilding, Chris. I was like, really? So, Mike Christian guest posed. He was Mr. California at the time, 83.
That was 83, 84, right?
Yeah.
Mike.
83, and then he turned pro 84. But he was the first bodybuilder. I was like, oh man, look at his back.
And that's a cool one to watch pose.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
It's
brother.
I think we're at that stage where it really is the struggle.
Oh yeah.
The struggle that sets you up. You come out of it.
I appreciate coming through, man. It was we got, like I said, we got to do it again.
We gotta
do part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2.
I want to get you in the gym and have you demonstrate some of your
Okay.
forms and beliefs and time and stuff like that. And really, we'll give you guys that information so you can't say that we're not trying to help you.
Right.
But again, it's just go watch this, man. Go watch him. Go watch what he's doing with these. And Breon's one of these things that I try to explain to people. To take the average Joe and change him, it's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. But to take an elite athlete and get him 1% better is a task.
I saw some of our first photos that we trained together.
And that's what you did with him.
Yeah, just see how he looked then and see what he became.
Yeah. So imagine this guy took somebody that was so elite and so great, and then he made him better. That's a tougher thing to do. And I think if you guys think, well, he's already a great athlete, he'll be easy to work. It's hard. You're already great. It's that 1% better. It's a 1% better.
And then some of it's mental also, to where you allowing someone to that you're gonna let them massage your brain and your spirit, your soul, and your connection, and just elevate all of that.
I love it.
Yes.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Thanks, Big Mike. I like the shirt you wore today.
You like that?
That's me and you.
Oh! Again, how do you not love that guy? Great human, great bodybuilder. And again, for me, watching him, he had fun. He had fun doing this. And so that was one of the greatest things I always saw about him. But, the real deal is one of those things that he was such a savage in the gym, which I loved. But I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, I just have this image of what we trained like back then. And he is so solid in the image of watching him train and motivating me from across the gym. And again, this will not be the first and only time that you see him on my show. We're going to bring him back because we have so much more to cover. But that's it, man. That was my show today. Mike O'Hearn, Generation Iron. Guys, let me know who you guys would like me to sit down and talk to. I have, in the coming weeks, I have Billy Gunn, Hall of Fame wrestler, WWE. Big Paul White, Big Show from also WWE over at AEW now. So is Billy Gunn. But I got Thor, the strongest man in the world, coming on here. And then it looks like we're going to be talking about my movies. I have my movies coming out here in the next couple of weeks to premiere over at Sundance Film Festival and a couple more TV shows. So life is fun. Let me hear from you guys, and thanks for watching.